we'll go ahead and begin. Okay, so hopefully everyone has read yesterday's role play, and if you have not, then it would be a good opportunity to do so because it is very important and it's something that I'm going to discuss a little bit today. Essentially, it has been discovered that the abominations, the beasties, the creatures, the entities that are being sent from the plane of chaos, being sent from the nameless. If they hit you, then they can infect you with unlife. Okay, the anti-life equation, sort of making you undead. But as if you read yesterday's role play, it's not actually undeath. Okay, they do make you into a feral beastie and ultimately turn you into eyes, tentacles, and teeth. You have seen the Otiug. uh, yes, sort of worse than that, but you're right, like an 18 villain. Uh, at least 18 villains had some semblance of humanity to them. Okay, good example. How many of you have played ESO, Elder Scrolls? Okay. Um, that would have been easier, but that's okay. Um, okay, another example. Okay, well, there's one. Another example. Yeah, I know Baldur's Gate. Okay, in some, how do I put this? In some media content, if someone is bitten by a vampire, they become this monster, okay? This crazed monster that just runs around and attacks everybody else. This feral, uh, blood sucking, cannibalistic beast, okay? Yes, like a ghoul. Exactly like a ghoul, okay? They essentially, uh, th- right, that's perfect, like a ghoul, okay? Uh, you've watched Game of Thrones, right? Most of you have seen Game of Thrones, right? And so you know you know what the White Walkers are, okay? Okay. So it's sort of you know, White Walkers, not not the controlling factors, not the necromancers, but the creatures, the infected. Okay. Um, Ghoul is the best way to put it. Okay. So like undead. It's like undeath, but not. Okay? They are infected with the anti-life equation. So their blood slowly changes color. They're no longer red. Okay? They start having this black blood. Okay? And they becoming entirely feral and cannibalistic. And after they have eaten enough people, then they start physically changing into be more like an otiug. Welcome, Valsharis Coyote. Mhm. Does anyone know? Mm, no. In the case of Borg, they actually are relatively intelligent, okay, and automaton-like, and very lawful. The the ghouls are not at all. Does anyone know what Hecatonothere is? I'm going to say that most people probably don't. Hecatonothere. Hecatonothere is a Greek myth, and they are these giants. They're covered in eyes. Their their bodies. They have a hunt. The word basically means 100 eyes. Their bodies are covered in eyes from top to the bottom. Okay, and their palms and everything else. Okay, so slowly but surely, these ghouls become sort of like Hecatonothere. They don't become giants like a Hecatonothere, but they slowly but surely start, their bodies start being covered with eyes and mouths, you know, like like their stomach becomes a big old mouth. Okay, it's very gruesome. Okay, eyes, teeth, and tentacles. Okay, little by little, that's what they become. Okay, right. Very, very gruesome. So that's definitely a bad thing, right? But before that, you know, they are these ghouls that eat everything that they and everyone that they can get hold of. Little by little, they start turning into this other creature. But it does take a few days. It's not immediate. But in 30 days' time, basically from the time for one battle to the next, if the person has not been cured, they are this. They have turned into this new creature. Okay. To circumvent that, I am giving out 12 medallions to the Crimson Guard. The Crimson Guard will have the ability. Now, the curing, as long as they're cured by the medallions, they're cured. Okay. They can be hit again, and same thing can happen to them over again. But if the medallions that I'm giving out, the uh, anti-life equation, medallions of anti-life equation, will fix that, and they will stop that transformation, and they'll be good and go. They'll be good and golden. Go right back to being who they were. Okay. So I do encourage you to read yesterday's role play. Um, Heather, who's in the room today, was my vampiric guinea pig to distinguish the difference between undeath and anti-life. Okay, and it was a pretty potent role play. Yes, I could have gone into greater detail. I did do, well, I did do some. Okay, I could have went into greater detail, but I didn't think that everybody needed all of the medical knowledge that I could have put into it. You know, I just was down and dirty, as they say. Okay. Now, with that said, Sage has the role play wise has the medallions. Okay. It, I did put some detail in there, Molly, so do definitely read it. Okay. And I would have gone into greater detail. But I already had, hold on. Excuse me. I had already held people for 2 hours. We all know that written role play takes a lot longer. So it would have been, if I had gone into all the details, it would have been three. There was enough details already to actually get the point across. It was 2 hours as it stood. Anyway, uh, Malachite here has the medallions. Role play wise, Sage has them. But if you are interested in being Crimson Guard, and if you're a Blood Knight, then you're excluded because you already have you you wear the Cuisinarts. And if you are Conclave, you have all you already have enough powers as it is. So these are offered to anyone that is not Crimson. I'm about to explain that. Anyone who is not a Blood Knight or Conclave. The Crimson Guard are the bearers of the medallion of the unlife equation. That gives you those people have the ability to transform, to stop the transformation of people into these feral anti-lifers. Okay, does that make sense? They basically have the ability to cure on death, not actual on death. They can cure anti-life. So, in other words, they cannot cure Heather over there. Okay, Heather will not be affected by the medallion. Okay, neither will Lynn Darkwatch or any of our vampires because they don't have anti-life. They have undeath. And yesterday's role play, if you read it, you will see that I distinguish what it the difference. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Okay. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Okay. I know that that's probably not as clear as I would want it to be. Any questions on what I just said? No, the vampires, since they have undeath, no, none of our undead can be hampered or harmed by the anti-life equation. So the medallions do not affect undead. They affect the void beasties. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes. I'm glad you asked the question because unanswered questions, some other person may have that question too. They just are too shy or nervous or what have you to actually ask. Okay? So if you have a question, always ask it. Okay? But so is all that clear? Does it make sense? And again, I encourage you to read the role play if you have not. If you happen to have been online when we were doing it, because we did do it live in Guard, okay, then you will have, you know, a little bit, a little bit more knowledge. And a few of you were actually there role playing with the librarians. I don't know who's in the room right now. I don't think any of you that are in here now were actually there. But yes, they are still technically alive, but they're also not. Just like the undead, okay? The undead are not alive and they're not dead, okay? They are more dead than alive. But they are neither alive nor dead. They are undead. And these, the void beasties are the same way. They are not alive nor are they dead. They're somewhere in between. Okay? They are, and they're feral, cannibalistic. They slowly start losing their minds. So they, you know, their brain may work for maybe a week tops, okay, or so. The brain will work for a little while, but as the infection slips into their brain, they become less and less able to think. Okay, but at first, you know, if you catch them within a week, you know, they're still going to be fairly much themselves. Okay, um, but it, they will eventually become, I won't say animals, but animal instincts. Okay, does that make sense? Oh yes, you can. You everything they are affected by everyone. Okay, but you're gonna want fire, cold, darkness, or light to actually do damage to them. Okay? Yes, bloodlusting hunters. Yep. That that's all they are. So the answer to your question, Jaluk Hammer, is if you're just running around with your sword, you're gonna need a little bit of buff. Okay, you magic weapons work. Okay, blessed weapons, yes, because that's light or darkness. Okay, uh, you just regular regular weapons will hit them. Okay, but they're not going to damage them. You need you need light, darkness, fire, or ice to cause them damage. So you'll do more damage with a smacking them upside the head with a torch than you will with your sword. Does that make sense to Luke Hammer? No problem. No, straight up magic doesn't actually hurt them. It can you can hit them, okay? But you know, you need your stuff. Yep, blessed works because blessing makes it gives it light or dark. Enchanting gives it you, fire, ice. Okay, they are they do have a hard time crossing blessed lines, but do remember that some of them can fly. Now, your regular one players that have been infected, most of them aren't going to fly. Nifredel would be an exception to their wings, and most of the Fae. Speaking of which, it's a death sentence for the Fae. Okay, if a Fae is infected, they are going down at double the speed as of anyone else. Yeah, that is Jalil Air is correct. Rika, your daggers cut through walls. Yes, they're definitely going to affect them. Okay. Yes, the Fae. Yeah. Fae, if a Fae is infected, then they only have 2 weeks before they are a monster. Okay. Does that make sense? Does anyone know why that is? Any idea? It's because Fae are so connected to life, okay? And the void creatures are anti-life. So if Fae are life beings, they are connected to the life force of the universe, then that means the anti-life equation destroys them. Okay, and that is correct. Um, they as we've discussed before, that immortality is what the abominations are going after. So everything that they kill and chomp down, that it doesn't satisfy them unless the being that they killed is immortal. Okay? Just like, okay, zombies. Everybody knows zombie movies, right? Then they are trying to eat brains. Okay? So even though they may chomp a leg or an arm or chomp some, what it was, even though they may be chomping down a person, what they're after are the brains. They don't feel, they don't, they're not satisfied if they're not chomping the brains. That's the way zombies are. So void beasts are the same way. They're going to be chomping down anything that they can, but unless the being that they're chomping is immortal, they don't get anything out of it. Okay? So does that make sense? Okay, excellent, excellent. Now, so far, I have two Crimson Guard that I have. Sage hasn't told me about anybody else yet, but there might be. Rain and Eno. Okay. Yes, they can sense immortality. But they also just attack. Okay. They they attack because they're hungry. They are eating everything that they can. Right. Um, will they will they prefer to attack the immortal? Yes. Okay. But they're going to attack anything in front of them. Okay. They're not going to bypass. Like say, three people are standing here. All right. And behind them is a demon, a devil, an elemental, a fae. They're not going to bypass the three people. They're not going to run around them to get to that fae. Okay. They're going to go through them. Okay. They don't have the intellect to plan and go and say, okay, it'll be easier if I just run around these guys because that Fae over there is who I want to eat. They don't have that. Okay, they're gonna go forward. Okay, and those people who are standing between the infected and the Fae, they are in between. They can either sidestep and let the Fae get hurt, or they can attack. Okay. The Crimson Guard are simply the Crimson Guard are simply 12 individuals that carry the medallions that can reverse the anti-life. Okay. Jalil Orthorius, if you want one of those medallions, you qualify. You're neither a Blood Knight or Conclave. That means if you want to be Crimson Guard, you qualify to do so. Okay. Does I'm not sure what. Okay, you're gonna have to explain to me what you mean. But the Crimson Guard is simply the way to cure the anti-life equation. Okay, I made 12 medallions, and they are not sure what you mean. Okay. Feel free to. I know I'm not teleporting Mr. Dog. He's already tried to contact me. So anyone who does not know that, Mr. M Dog is the briefer in question. Yes, if you want to be part of the Crimson Guard, all you have to do is contact Sage. She has in role play, she has the 12 medallions. Okay. Physically, Malachite has them. Okay. So she can give them out. Okay. I would still have you. Uh, I would still have you contact Sage so you can role play it out. Okay. This is the role play realm, right? We're role players. So, um, I would still encourage you to talk to Sage and role play it out. But if you want to be in the Crimson Guard and you're in this room, tell me now. I'm good with it. Okay? Malachite will give you the medallion, and then you contact Sage and role play it out. I'm good. Okay? All right. Anybody in here? I know that Rain is already. Okay? And, okay. Jill Authorius. Or Authorius. We will talk about it. Okay. All right. Morgana, not a problem. Malachite, okay. Yeah, okay. Let me answer this real fast. Okay, there we go. No, okay. As far as rules as to who can be Crimson Guard, the only rule about not about it is that you can't be a Blood Knight or Conclave. It's for any player, level one. It doesn't matter. It's designed specifically to hit up the hit up players that want to be fully engaged um, in the role play, and you don't have to be one of the you know super high level characters. You don't have to be a Blood Knight. You don't have to be Conclave. You can anybody can do it. Okay, that is the purpose of the Crimson Guard. Okay, so that people on the ground level that want to be fully engaged, they want to have a role that they can play, not just be a hack and slash, which is okay. Hey, there's nothing wrong with being hack and slash. I'm good with that. That's why I put out the shivs and the stabs, is for people to just be hack and slash. Speaking of which, Jake, uh, if you want, if you don't have a shiv or a staff, if that is one of the that is a weapon that is already enchanted, and I have given those out to the players. Okay, if you've got a shiv, there you go. Yep, good old stabby stab. It's perfectly fine. But for people who want a more um, direct role, okay, they want to be able to engage on, especially on a role play level, uh, be able to, and they have a healer's mentality. Then that's what the Crimson Guard is for. The Crimson Guard is for people with a healer's mentality. Uh, like Rain and Morgana, they both have already expressed that. Eno also is the third person who has asked to be Crimson Guard. 12, I'm looking for only 12 people to be Crimson Guard. Okay, that is why I made 12 medallions. I think if there was more than that, it would OP the game. Okay, all right, okay. Maxwell, um, I'm good with that. Malachite, the if you could please, and Michael, if you could please drop medallions to Michael, Maxwell, Morgana, and then uh, okay, all right, you've already arranged it with Sage so that she gives them out at the role play. I love it. Okay, do it. Okay. So all of you that are interested in doing so, it's great that you're telling me, and it's important for me to know that. But I still want you to see Sage, and Malachite is going to give her the medallions so that it has So you actually get to enjoy the role play of it. Okay. But that's cool. I mean, 6 out of the 12 are already, and definitely spread the word, you know, because it's designed for players that want to be involved, you know, and in the big picture, and are thinking, oh, you know what, I don't have, you know, I'm not a blood knight, I'm not, I'm not conclave, I don't have the special abilities, but I want to be able to help. Okay, well, hey, this is one of those ways. Okay, yeah. Now that is true. Some people are already set up. You know, and they already, especially combat players, you know, and they already know if you know they already know if they can do it. Okay? But it's particularly important for those healer types that want to have a more, slightly more impact. Okay, support types. You know, rogues. The fact that you sneak around. That was a pretty good that Michael Sinclair actually brought that one up. It's a nice position that for a rogue. You know, somebody gets somebody gets touched, they can sneak in, come up behind them, and go ding. Okay, now it doesn't happen for you if you touch them. Okay, so dragons, yeah, you can claw them. Okay, I would bless your claws. Okay, you're gonna rip them apart, but you're not gonna do them any damage. Okay, they're not gonna. Do you see what I'm saying? You can rip them to shreds, but you're not gonna do them any damage if you don't have fire, ice, dark, or light. Okay, there's nothing stopping you from ripping them to into little tiny pieces. Yes, dragon claws can be enchanted. They can. There's nothing stopping you from ripping them into little pieces, but they're just going to stand right back up. Okay? Yes, anti these beings can detect you whether you're invisible or not. Okay? No, a dragon, if you claw them, that's not going to make you infected. They have to do damage to you. Okay? You can touch them, but if they touch you, then you know, and even if they just touch you, they actually have to do damage to you. Okay? Yes, smiting them is perfectly fine. You can do that because that's light. That's light or dark, depending on what you are. Okay? Glad you're asking these questions. Yes, that actually brings up an interesting point. You can sanctify an area and it makes it so that they cannot enter. Okay? But, just so you know, they that will make it a target. Okay? And so they are going to, little by little, go after that area. Okay? Does that make sense? If you have a place that's been warded and sanctified, that is a beacon that they are, that the villains, that the void beasties will eventually go after soon as they can, soon as they can. Right? This building that you guys are in right now, this is a glowing beacon that the void beasties want. They haven't been able to do anything yet, but does that mean eventually they will? Eventually they will attack Alluvia. Okay? They just haven't been able to figure out how. But someday, yep, the lion's head also, you're right. You are correct. There are places that yes, you are correct. They are always after our Lucky Charms. Love that one. That was good. So definitely don your little green hats when you see them. Yep. You already know that Comet is their prime target because she is the Queen of Light in our scenario. And light and dark are the two things that they are need to consume so that the void takes everything. Okay, so these beasties are not shadow, they're not darkness, they are void. Okay, they want to eliminate everything. Okay, they defy the laws of the universe. That's why eventually, if you are infected, your body starts morphing and you start getting covered with eyes and mouths. Very, very terrible disease. You know, it gives a whole new meaning to the word hoof and mouth disease. But you're a ghoul long before you are a gibbering mouther, because eventually that's what you become. You know, by the fifth week, you are a gibbering mouther. Well, hopefully that's. I hope we don't have players that get infected. But we have had players that got infected. Um, if people in the last battle, if any of you that were hit, if you want to, uh, if you were, if you want to role play that you got infected, hey, that is awesome. Okay, I wasn't going to roll that out until next battle. Okay, that I'm not gonna. I wasn't planning on rolling out their vampiric touch until next battle. Okay, it one person got infected from last battle. Okay. Yeah, there was lots of protections put out. And because of all the protections that were put out, only one person was infected. And I cured them already. Okay. So, but they are stepping up their game so that now all of their void beasties have that ability. Okay. Does that make sense? Are you getting where what I'm talking about? So that next battle, they your beasties are going to start having vampiric touch. And and one of the reasons why I'm not allowing the BKs or Conclave to use medallions is because they can't be infected, you know, and it takes away role play for other people, you know. Yes, I want that. Okay, it would fit in here. Okay, it is. Pelly, you are on the same wavelength as me. The Void Beasties, they have level loss. I just don't know how to make that effective in our game just yet. Okay? Yes, they have that ability. Okay? They do. I just haven't figured out how to make it work yet. So it's going to roll out for the next time. Okay? This time, you know, they can, their vampiric touch does what we discussed. But know that in the future, once I figure out how to make it effective, they are going to have the ability to suck your levels. Okay, that will happen, but not this time. I just got to figure out how to make that work. So yeah, Pelly, I love it. You and I are gonna have to sit here and have a chat. You know, this is going to happen. It just hasn't yet, but it will. Okay, because these beasties, they are the kinds that suck your life force. All right. That means that they can take away your levels, but I haven't figured out how to nuts and bolts that just yet. But I like Pelly's ideas. So, right? There's a lot of, and yes, there's there's a lot of kickback and drawback against that. So I've got to figure out how to nuts and bolts it. Once I do, that will be a thing. But I have to be able to, I have to put plenty of things in place to get those levels back also. Okay. Because maybe I'll make it so that the Crimson Guard medallions can also cure that too. Ha- The only way to recover levels without magic is to level up again. Okay. But magic will give you levels back. Okay. Officially, as of this moment, even though we haven't gone into that. The Crimson Guard, your medallions, they also have that power. Okay? Malachite, please write that down since you were in charge of my magic items. The Crimson Guard medallions can also restore levels that are drained from by the void creatures. Oh yeah, and that's why people would hate it. And that's why I haven't actually put it into effect. That's the nuts and bolts of it. Just is too has too much potential for conflict. Okay, so I haven't put it into play. All right, but I want to do it without making it so that people have to go through all that stuff to get it back. So don't think it's in play yet, but know that it's coming. And but it won't go into play until I figure out how to make it so that people can get their levels back without having to guild, you know, fix it in their guilds. Okay, that is too much to ask. Okay, restoration is a high level spell. Um, what I might do is I might just grant restoration to all high priests, all guild level high priests, and uh, and then plus the medallions and high level necromancers also restoration is a spell they could have. Mm, I'll think about it. All right, like I said, the nuts and bolts have not been worked out yet. Okay, but I do not want people to have to redo their stuff. And that is automatically what you think of when you lost the level. Okay? Nobody's going to want to do that. That just doesn't make any sense. So I haven't nuts and bolts it out yet. Okay? Yeah, especially, you know, exactly. Hmm. But hey, we're hashing it out right now, right? So that's cool. I'm not going to make people redo their all their hard work in order to get it back, right? But I also think that the role play effect of feeling like you just got your life sucked out of you is is a powerful motivator. Okay, so that's why so far I have restricted it to having your life sucked out, having your energy sucked out, instead of having your levels sucked out. Okay, because there's nothing more discouraging than feeling like all the work that you just did has been taken away from you because some powerful beastie touched you. Okay? Now, see what Sable just said? That is the ideal. Okay? That is the ideal. And that's what if everybody had that mentality, okay, then it would be easy. Okay? But that's not how everybody thinks. Okay? Some people get this knot in their stomach. I just lost my level. All right? And they get super discouraged, and it's hard for them to wrap the brain around the fact that they could just go to a high priest and get their level restored. Not everybody has that mentality. What Trinity just said, is accurate. Some people are going to think, "Oh man, I worked so hard to get that level. I had to had all these guild requirements. I got to do all that all over again, man." And that's instantly some people that's where their brain's going to go, right? And so the reason I haven't done it is because it's too the nuts and bolts are too loose. Not everybody. Okay? I mean, yes, it is level drain, but level drain, yeah. If I could get people to understand the difference between level drain and level loss, then it would be different. Okay? They'll automatically think. Some people won't. Okay? Some people are gonna understand. Okay, man, I get. I'm gonna have to act like I'm lower level now until I get to a priest or a necromancer. Um, but other people are gonna be just gonna have their minds blown away and be like, I got to do that all over again. Okay. Yes, there's no level loss in the GA. The High Priest in Silvara, the is you're going to be your White Magister right now. Yes, so Juniper is serving that function in Silvara. Okay. So right now, as far as High Priests, we're looking at Juniper, Laura, Malrena. Isn't uh okay, and Tiverio, that's four. So all right, what about that? That's Guild Lead. I'm talking Guild Lead. Okay. What about necromancers out there? Actually, the problem is once you get to 0, you die, Jake. That's actually the when you lose levels. Once you get to 0, you become what just what just turned you into that. The ghouls, chompy chompy, and next thing you know, you're a ghoul. So again, the level displacement is very difficult to to put in play. Yes, the level drain is too it makes it really hard to pull off nuts and bolts wise. It that's why I have never done that. So I'm using life force, okay, instead. Now, Serga, mandatory risk you take if you participate in a battle, for example, or you be able to participate without the possibility that it happens if you like. Sorry for my English here. How can I say it? Okay. Yes, there are there are ways that you can get infected without being in a battle. In fact, Ithalon are is about to or have already they're about to roll out a role play, a nameless role play called Blight. Okay. Now, okay, it's already started. Okay. My thoughts is this is Blight is going to do this do this to people. It's going to start infecting people. Okay, that's if you eat the plants. Right now, it's only affecting plants, and which is bad. Okay, all right. But if you start eating those plants, okay, then you're going to get infected. Because yes, they are the basis of every food chain. That is correct. Okay, now the protection spell that is cast, it is going to protect you from a lot of things. Yes, but one second. Oh, excuse me. It is going to protect you from a lot of things, but is it possible that you can still for that to happen? Yes. Um, infection can only occur if you are damaged. Okay. All right. And chompy chompy. Okay. So all the protection spells that are rolling out that I have, you given to vampires, necromancers, priests, mages, plus the purple shield over everything. All of these do protect, do protect, okay? But in order to make it uh, a danger, then it does have to exist. It is, will it happen every time you get hit? No, okay? It's not going to happen every time you get hit. It's not possible, okay? Um, it's a it's a possibility, okay? It's a possibility that can occur, okay? And it's not just going to affect battlefields. That's why we just um, I talked to a Varial and she's got blight rolling out, okay? Because this shouldn't just affect combat, okay? The point, the the tendrils, the void intends to just to annihilate, not just kill, not conquer, wants to annihilate everything. Okay? So any way it can do that, it's going to. Okay? The void isn't thinks like an animal. Okay? It it doesn't think things out all the way like you and I. It thinks like a hungry beast. Like these like ghouls that we were referring to. We talked about earlier. They attack because they're hungry. They're trying to eat your immortality. And beings that do not have immortality are just in the way. They're gonna, yep, junk food. They're going to chompy you, but it's not going to give them anything. Like eating Twinkies and instead of uh, tuna casserole, right? You got me? Okay, I know there are more questions. I can see them. Now, yes, armor and armored spells. Okay, just here, let me throw something else out there for you guys to think about. Um, just because you took damage doesn't mean you were cut. Okay? There are some magic items out there you can run around naked. Okay? And they can be slashing at you all day and they didn't actually cut you. Okay? Yeah, they didn't actually cut you. You took damage, but they didn't actually cut you. So what I'm talking about when the avoid beastie cuts you, they actually have to cut you. Okay. Yes, lightning does hurt them. Lightning is fire and light. Okay. Okay. Rika, how that translates in a GA battle. It's the same way. It sometimes it's just going to batter you. Okay, it's not necessarily going to cut you and draw blood. You can tell how are you what is your armor class? What are you wearing? Okay? If you have armor class more higher than 0, chances are they're not going to cut through your armor. You are going to take damage, okay? Because batter damage. There's all kinds of ways to hurt you. But they have to cut through it in order to actually draw blood. Does that make sense? Okay. If you have magic armor or magic spells protecting you, then most of the time, there we go. Yes, that's where I was about to tell you that exact same thing. Smart woman. Most of the time, it's not going to cut through your stuff because you've got all these protections. But once you get to 0, then they have penetrated your armor. Okay? You have taken an actual cut for sure. Or if you walk out there naked and don't have magic or just cloth or whatever, and you don't have any magic on you, guess what? You're going to get cut. Okay? You need to be prepared when you're walking the battlefield. Okay? Yep. But even Beowulf, he actually magics all over him. Okay? Beowulf, yeah, he was running around naked, but he was covered in magic. Okay? Yep, magic shields of every variety. Runes, that's one of the chief things about rune magic is its protection spell. Okay? Bards weave protection magic when they in whether they're singing or you know or playing a harp or a lyre or whatever it is, they're weaving a protection spell around you. Okay. Beowulf, the yeah, and mage too. That's right. Mage armor. As far as the name goes, she was joking, but she's not wrong. It's just the name. But she isn't wrong. Okay. It's just the name is not that, but it's funny. It is still funny, you know. But you get me, right? As long as you're protected, then they're not cutting your flesh. Once you get to 0, though, they cut your flesh. Okay. Does all that make sense? Is it is it clicking? Okay. And I'm glad you asked questions. Okay. Because hey, I'm pretty good, right? But I don't think of every little thing that I need to tell you. So that is why I do this Socratically. So you can ask me stuff so that bases are covered, right? Okay. But yes, both clerics and mages have a mage armor, have a way to protect themselves even though they don't have anything on. And there are magic items that do the same thing. Uh, Usopp has a belt that, as long as he wears the belt, he didn't have to wear anything else. He has armor class 2. Okay. Uh, yep, that's right. Rika does too. And Malrena, yeah, he does need to wear pants, but I'm just saying, you know. Yes, your domains, you need the protection domain in order to get mage armor. There, it is your domains do determine that. War also gives you that. Protection, war, um, magic, all three of those give you that. Death also gives you that. Life also gives you that. Yes, spiritual armor. That's correct. You do need to finish that cockatrice scale collection. That would be the bomb. Especially if you, I mean, yes, a cloak would be cool, but armor would even be better. You know, definitely a good idea. I would be trading for people that have, they don't know what, they got these scales in their inventory and they don't know what to do with them. A leather worker, yes, you have to have a leather worker to work with those scales. Okay, you get with a leather worker. Yep, you have about 100. As with 100, she could get a breastplate and leggings. The two most major parts of a suit of armor she has enough scales for. Sure. For a full suit that includes helmet, gloves. No, she would need about 175. She needs about 75 more if she wants a full suit. She's got enough for the two most major pieces of armor. So, but for a full suit, she needs about another 75 more scales. That would be boots, gloves, helmet, breastplate, and legs. Okay. Any other questions, guys? I know I spent the entire time just talking about yesterday's roleplay, but it's important, you know, if you have not read it, please do so. It will the things that we talked about today will make a lot more sense. You know, if you haven't read it, I know you came in here raw, okay? And hopefully you got enough information to still understand what we were talking, what it's about. Mm. And who knows, maybe after having been in class today and listened to all the stuff, then reading the role play will make even more sense. Okay? You are most welcome, Jill Arthurius. It is, you know, I hope I explained it well enough so that it it's not, making that it makes sense to everyone. Are there any questions so that I can keep you, and get you there? And all of you who already said, "Hey, you know what? I want to be Crimson Guard," give Sage a call. Okay? Hey, you know what? I would rather you ask questions, okay, and get answers than walk out of here going, what's going on? I don't get it. Okay, I'm confused. You know, I would rather hammer it down. Okay, if you are, no, you cannot. If you're wearing a medallion, you cannot be infected. Okay, okay. Those wearing the medallions cannot be infected. Okay, the medallion protects you from that. BKs cannot be infected. Conclave cannot be infected. Crimson Guard cannot be infected. Okay, but only the Crimson Guard can cure it. Okay, those that are there are. I think there are three people with. I know there are three rings. I don't know if they've all been given out. you know, because that requires someone sacrificing their life to make. Malachite would know the answer to that question because she has the three rings. All right. Any other questions about today? And don't worry about the level thing. I haven't nuts and bolts it out. So it's not a thing yet. Because I do not want people thinking I have to go and re-level. Uh, and that's just the automatic thought that people will have. And once I figure out how to make people not think that, then it'll go into effect. It is exactly correct. It's wording. Once I figure out the wording to make it so that people won't think that, then it will go into effect. Okay? But until then, it's life force. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, with all of that said, and since I'm not seeing any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and close this. Bella Dos for your attendance. I hope I did answer all your questions. and pass the word to other players about the Crimson Guard. It is uh, designed specifically for people who want to be engaged in the big picture, okay, without having to feel like they need to be a big dog in order to go out in the junkyard. Crimson because blood, okay? That's why I chose Crimson Guard because you are for is yes it does. But I chose Crimson because blood. You're protecting people from becoming ghouls that chompy people. Okay, that is why I chose Crimson. You know, and actually Heather over there, she doesn't know it, but she's part of the reason because she was laying there on my slab, and Vayana was laying on my other slab, and I'm drawing blood from them. I'm thinking, you know what? Crimson Guard. I like it. This is what we're doing. So it's called Crimson Guard. How about that? Okay. Anyway, Bell Das for your attendance. Ben Das for now.